Welcome to the Solid Verbal.
The Solid Verbal.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
I've heard so many players say, well, I want to be happy. You want to be happy for a day? Eat a steak.
It's that woo-woo!
And now, Dan and Ty.
Welcome back to the Solid Verbal, boys and girls. Ty Hildenbrand here, Dan Rubenstein over there. solidverbal@gmail.com, as always, is our email address. I know you know the email address because you're writing in to complain that we're not talking about your conference, but that's okay. You can also find us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Snapchat, as well as iTunes at itunes.com/solidverbal. Dan!
Yo.
What up, man? How are you?
I'm good, Ty. I hope you brought some honey mustard and barbecue, because I brought you some nuggets today.
Oh, thank you.
I brought you some nuggets. Yeah, for whatever reason, on Sunday, I decided I wanted to learn everything about everyone.
I saw that you went on a little bit of a tweet storm. Is that what they call it? A tweet storm now?
Yeah, but it wasn't really a rant of any kind. It was much more of a, here's some fun numbers from the season thus far after week 6. And all of them pointed to, wow, if you want to really inflate your numbers, play against Oregon. Because Jake Browning and Washington are just riding high numerically. So, yeah, go check our feed from Sunday, and there's all sorts of fun tackles for loss and quarterback rating against good teams, all sorts of things like that. Just interesting to see how teams have improved and how perhaps we should start adjusting expectations now that we have a little bit of a sample size this year.
So now you were in North Carolina just this week. Did you go to the milkshake place?
No, though we did see signs for Cookout.
Yeah.
We were there very briefly. I was there to interview a NASCAR driver for a decidedly non-college football show, but saw signs for Cookout. Instead, got delicious ramen at a place called Photo Buta. I think it's something like that. Photo Booth. Yeah. Okay. Photo Booth. Excellent. Could not recommend it more. And got really good pizza at night at a pizzeria somewhere in Charlotte. And now I'm back.
Very cool. Well,
yeah. Also, I saw Mitch Trubisky throw some incomplete passes.
The general.
That's what people recommend you do when you go to North Carolina now. It's the city of council is strongly recommended.
So it's the barbecue, the milkshakes, and a few incompletions.
Yes. Okay. I think I just said city of council. City council, board of tourism, whatever. Yes. Milkshakes next time.
Sounds good. Well, we've got a bunch of games to get through. As I told you earlier, it's a bunch of games that I feel like I've got one or two sentences about, and that's it.
Sure.
That's it. But we're going to try and get through as many. We do our best to cover as much as we can in the limited time that we have to not only research, but also record. And there's a pretty big slate in front of us here, so we'll do our best to try and get through that. But before we do, Dan... Breaking news! Boop, 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 boop. Jim Harbaugh is apparently a very enthusiastic drinker of milk.
Do we want to start the show off with this?
I mean, really? I like to try and keep it light here, but we got to talk. We got to talk about the giant milk goblet chalice that he was drinking next to a steak, and then associated tweets about milk, which I saw Jason Kirk or someone sent out on the SB Nation college football newsletter. I don't know if I want to go into much detail about this.
Okay.
What I just want to use this for is, again, to underscore the fact that while being a magnificent head football coach in college and pro, Jim Harbaugh remains exceedingly weird as just a human man, if he is a human man.
Listen, I like steak, I like beef, but it is a very weird dichotomy to eat the meat of the mother and what comes from her teat.
Yeah.
That is a little bit weird, and I will adhere to Spencer Hall's thoughts on milk, and that's milk is for babies. Stop drinking milk. It's nothing. It's garbage. You shouldn't be drinking it. It's not that great, and it's unnecessary. It makes your body worse.
If you're going steak and milk, is that considered vertical or horizontal integration? My economics are a little weak.
I think vertical, just because I think that's the direction from which the milk comes.
Okay.
So let's go vertical.
We'll go vertical? Fair enough.
Milk is garbage. You know what else, Ty? This was on Twitter a few weeks ago. Milk is garbage. Las Vegas is garbage. And choosing to live in a city in which it snows, and trust both of us on this one, just the most garbage.
Well, you come
I don't
from
understand
a place where
any
it
of those
snow,
things.
So you're
I know
that's
biased. How I can. Yes, that's how I can speak with expertise. Milk Vegas and choosing to live anywhere where there's snow is all in the form of garbage.
You know what? Let's save this for the off season.
Okay,
we can go there.
You know what we'll do
in the off season?
Let's call our shot right now, so nobody can copy us.
Yeah,
we're going to have a things that people like but are actually garbage bracket.
Okay, I'm writing
How's
this
that
down.
work for you? Write that down.
Garbage. Yeah. Garbage bracket. Maybe we can get Katie Nolan on that.
Wrongly. Yeah, like that would be actually
our
great.
Garbage time.
I can put in a note to her.
All right.
The likable garbage bracket.
You got it. All right. On to actual news.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we at with this whole LSU-Florida makeup? What's going on there?
We are at the point where neither team, and with pretty good reason, wants to give up a home game. There was talk about, I think, Florida buying out Presbyterian on November 19th and LSU buying out South Alabama. And understandably, LSU, which has been hit particularly hard recently with flooding and the downturn thereafter, does not want to give up a home game. You know, local businesses would suffer unnecessarily. And Florida certainly does not want to give up a home game because it is their year to host this game. And I don't think either one of these schools comes out looking particularly bad, because it's pretty defensible that you don't want to give up home games and you want to figure out a solution that works for everybody. The stench, I think, is coming from the SEC office. The fact that they couldn't come up with a solution, that they couldn't tell, hey, LSU, this is how it is. Hey, Florida, this is how it is. You guys are equally screwed. You guys are equally rewarded. And this is how we need to get this done so that everybody plays the same number of games. Let's figure out a solution. It feels like the SEC is the one that comes out looking the least problem solving, and it's not a good look.
So if I understand this correctly, from the Florida standpoint, if they go 6-1 in conference and Tennessee were to go 6-2, they would still get
with
the
a win
nod.
over Florida.
Right. They would Florida would still get the nod over
I believe so.
Tennessee because of the way that the bylaws are written.
It's a percentage thing. It's a winning percentage within the conference, yeah.
So wouldn't it benefit Florida to pull like a new phone who dis move and be like, we're busy, we're trying, but it's just not going to work out with our schedule. Like, we really want to make it up, but
right.
Unfortunately, there's no conceivable way that we can. Sorry, Bob.
Yeah, but Florida shouldn't have the leverage over the SEC. They just shouldn't. As big of a school as it is, it should not be Florida dictating it.
I agree, but it does benefit them.
Oh, yeah.
If they're able to pull that off. So, all right. More to come on that front. Plenty of articles are being written. We will continue to update as necessary. On a more somber note, did you see about Mike the Tiger?
I did.
That's sad. That makes me sad.
It makes me incredibly sad.
Yeah.
I love living beings and animals, and tigers, and this is a broader thing. Like, I don't like going to zoos. I don't particularly like going to aquariums. I'm a huge orca fan. These magnificent beasts shouldn't be confined into small cages and tanks and stuff like that. And Mike the Tiger sat in a little terrarium and, every so often came out in a double cage for fans to barely see him. It's a huge bummer alive. It's a huge bummer that, Mike went out like this, or what, Mike 6?
Mike 6,
out like this.
Passed away this past week.
I don't know how.
He was like 11 years old, I thought I saw.
Yeah. I don't know how the other living mascots, the real life mascots, whether it's Ralphie or Bevo. I'm pretty sure Bevo is just like hanging out on a ranch. I don't know where Ralphie's hanging out, but I don't believe it's some sort of like gawking thing. I always feel bad when I see that. I've seen Mike the Tiger up close, and you're like, yeah, I don't like this.
Yeah. Well, it's sad. It's sad to see it. And, a lot of really poignant articles being written on the Tiger.
Yeah.
Which is, both unexpected and I guess kind of heartwarming to read that sort of thing. But R.I.P. Mike 6.
Yeah.
Gone too soon.
Thoughts and prayers to Mike's family.
That's right. Anything else here on the news front?
Nah, that's about it for me.
Dan, time, help. I need picks of the week.
So just so everybody knows, I pulled this list of big games directly from Reddit, the college football subreddit. I go there twice a day. I've seen it grow up. We've both seen it grow up.
Yeah, they do a good job.
They've done a great job over there. They've got a nifty little side widget on the right-hand rail where you can go through and filter and look at all the big games for a given week, the featured games, the ranked games, the other notable games. So I just want to thank them for their hard work. And I did make one modification to the list, which I'll explain in a little bit. But by and large, this is their list from a huge community of college football people. Don't give us crap if we're not covering your team or your conference closely enough.
And if Ty doesn't cover it, I'm going to jump in and say some things.
That sounds good to me. 12 p.m. 12 p.m. on FS1. We've got West Virginia on the road, a 1-point favorite. At Texas Tech, Dan, as you know, we have an astounding number of West Virginia fans who listen to this show.
We do. Shout out to the ears and to our pals over at Smoking Musket on the SB Nation Network.
So I'm just going to say this, and I mean it truly with all due respect. The stat sheet on Texas Tech's defense really reads like a murder scene.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, whether you're into old school yards per game or the new school efficiency stuff, they really agree in one voice that they hate Texas Tech. The only thing that they're doing well is they're not allowing a lot of big pass plays, but really that's about it. Bad against the run, bad against the pass, not generating pressure, not stopping drives, losing the field position battle, allowing a ton of points. The offense is good, defense not so much. And so you look at a game like this, and the question I think always gravitates towards how big a liability is this defense in a game against a West Virginia team that historically under Dana Holgorsen has scored a lot of points?
Texas Tech's defense has actually gotten a little bit better, and they're generally okay in the first half. And I think it's more of a depth and sort of getting tired and fundamentals going out the window in the second half if you watch this team at all. And West Virginia, traditionally, you're right. They've put together huge offenses. They haven't had that this year.
No.
Skylar Howard, Shelton Gibson, they've been nice at times, but in terms of pulling away from teams, in terms of scoring up in bunches, they've been decent. Defensively, they lost a ton from last year, and they've actually been pretty interesting against the pass. They've been playing the pass very well. They've been aggressive at the right times. They've been not great against the run, but that doesn't really shine against Texas Tech, who is just a team, as you mentioned, in extremes. They're great at passing. And by the way, I mean, great at passing. Patrick Mahomes is great. We talk about Junkyard Jim Washington, Dede Westbrook, Katie Cannon. It's a very nice Big 12 conference of receivers. Jonathan Giles, his name should be known. His name should be shouted from the Badlands across West Texas. He's been excellent for Texas Tech. I think he leads the Big 12 in receiving yards per game. So certainly it's easier with that type of offense. But Jonathan Giles, good on you. You're really, 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 really good.
Jay Giles centerfold.
And yeah, Texas Tech's defense has moments of being, man, this sounds like I'm trying to be super mean, and I'm not. They have moments where they're just not good. They're not extremely bad. And so, look, you're going to be entertained watching Texas Tech games, and sometimes they're going to win, sometimes they're going to lose in shootouts. This week, I have them winning by 3. It's at home. It's a big distance to travel for West Virginia. This is the sort of matchup that people talk about, like the Big 12 has a team in Morgantown, West Virginia, and Lubbock, Texas. Let that sink in that a single conference has these two teams. So I'm thinking a team traveling across the better part of the country against a really good offense that does at least something really well. I'm taking Texas Tech 38-35 and winning outright. Obviously, covering the spread.
That's interesting. Doesn't it usually work the other way around, though? When you're going west to east, that's when it really gets you. But east to west,
sure,
not quite the same effect. But point taken. Point taken.
It's still a lot of travel and still some jet lag.
Totally. West Virginia is a little more mysterious this year. We haven't talked a whole lot about them here. They've beaten Missouri, BYU, K-State. Those are decent wins. They haven't all been impressive, but okay, it's going to get more difficult now. And I feel like this is sort of the leading edge of that wave of better Big 12 competition on West Virginia's schedule. I think they can, I think they should run the football in this game. I know it's not exactly Dana Holgorsen's MO, but it's there. Because if you come out and pass against Tech, if you get into that track beat, you're sort of playing into their hands here. I think you run the ball. I think you eat the clock. The line is played okay up front for West Virginia. I think you use the running game to control the clock. And on defense, their strength has actually been in the pass game. So again, slow it down, get a few stops here and there on defense, hope for the best. I like West Virginia to win 38-35. So same score, different team here between you and I. We disagree. You like Tech, I like West Virginia.
I like Tech here, yeah.
All right, moving on. This is my one tweak that I mentioned at the top.
Hit me.
12 p.m. ABC, Clemson at home. 17.5-point favorite, Dan, over NC State. Now, here's why I put this one on the list. There was an inexplicable event that occurred about 5 years ago.
Okay.
When Clemson went to NC State. I believe they were ranked 7th. They lost for no good reason. I've waited for a long time for someone to come up with a word to describe that weird event. It was just supernatural almost. Mm-hmm. But the last time that type of thing occurred was 5 years ago on the road in Raleigh against NC State. The other reason I brought up this game was because we did get a couple reverbs about it when Clemson won a game a couple weeks back. I forget against whom, but people were saying, come on, Clemson. It's poor form to rush the field. They rushed the field after all the wins, okay?
Every single win, yeah.
Every single win. Just an important PSA.
Yeah, it's just a tradition.
We're not here to scold. We're just here to inform and have fun. And for what it's worth, they do it a lot here, Dan. This game, though, Clemson at home, again, 17.5 points, a favorite over NC State, Dan. Give me a reason to trust in NC State here.
They beat a superpower a few years ago when they played Clemson.
Scoundrel.
Give you a reason. Ryan Finley has been very efficient in Eli Drinkwitz's offense. Eli Drinkwitz, the offensive coordinator who came over from Boise State, slid in mud after NC State won the game against Notre Dame last week.
Didn't we all? Yeah.
NC State's been decent on both sides. They beat, I think, a pretty respectable Wake team. I mean, in terms of the context of Wake these past few years. Stephen Lewis is a very good big play receiver and a good option. If you're going to beat Clemson, I would suggest that you stretch the field a little bit and not have to rely on beating up on Dexter Lawrence and Christian Wilkins and the superior Clemson front seven to keep those safeties back. And they seem to be improving. Dave Doran seems to be building an incrementally better program every year in Raleigh. That said, the game is in Death Valley, which is a very difficult place to play. And as I just mentioned before, I love Dexter Lawrence in an unhealthy way. The freshman defensive tackle for Clemson. What I'd like to see out of Clemson against an NC State team that doesn't do anything particularly dominant in a dominant fashion defensively. A clean game from Deshaun Watson, limit turnovers, get in a rhythm early. We've seen him struggle to do that in first quarters. And have Wayne Gallman sort of set the tone early on in this game. And Clemson has, I think, an extra day off because they played on a Friday night against Boston College. So, yeah, string together clean, quick drives. And I think Clemson won't have all that much of an issue with the Wolfpack. I have them 34-14.
Isn't it amazing what Clemson lost up front and still how great they've been so far this season?
Yeah. No,
what a testament to recruiting, to Dabo, Brent Venables. Yeah. It's really been a masterclass along that front seven.
One of the things that, and you've heard former coaches talk about this a lot, is losing a lot on defense sometimes isn't as big of a deal as losing a lot on offense, which in terms of a system can be so dependent on rhythm. Having footwork coordination between a quarterback and receiver, having offensive linemen that seem to be in sync. Defensively, if you can convince a group of 11 dudes to just play assignment football and care every snap, the results are going to be a lot better than they are worse. And there's something in the water at Clemson that has year over year. And listen, it doesn't hurt to have blue chip recruits filling in every year, but they just seem to give a crap. And that is, it's a testament to the coaching. It's quite impressive.
They've done a good job. Okay. NC State, I guess with that backdrop, and as you already mentioned, is going to have a hard time running the football here.
Yeah.
And that's an issue. It really is an issue. If they're not able to achieve some amount of balance against Clemson, and really nobody has, outside maybe Louisville, it's going to be tough tough sledding here. So I don't see NC State winning. I don't see them covering the point spread. The reason that I feel most confident in saying that is because Clemson finally found its top gear against Louisville and then showed it off again last week against Boston College, which is always a defense that's pretty stout. You know, Clemson early on, we were writing these stories. We were talking about it here. We were listening to it elsewhere about how, well, is Deshaun Watson, is he going to be okay? And is this offense, you know, going through some growing? They're fine. Everyone's going to be fine. They're back to their old ways again. And I feel like this could potentially get out of hand. So I'm going to go Clemson here by a final score of 42-17. I like them big at home.
Okay. Yeah, and Boston College has not been the same team defensively this year as they have been in years past. But yeah, Clemson, I think it seems to be the ball is rolling downhill in a very positive fashion for that offense finally.
All right, 3:30 on ABC. Nebraska on the road at Indiana. Dan, this game opened at Indiana +6.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even 6.5, depending where you look. I am guessing that our friends in the desert figured on Indiana being our home dog of the week, so the line was almost instantly bet all the way down to now 3.5.
Yes.
So our point spread here is Nebraska by 3.5 on the road at Indiana. Give it up for the Cornhuskers, by the way. They are 5-0. They're a top 10 team for the first time in forever. I got a little something I'm working on for Nebraska.
Oh, no.
But they got to
curse them right here and now?
No. Nothing like that. I'm rooting for Nebraska. You and I met for the first time.
This is true. A special place.
But they got to win this game first before I'm willing to trot it out.
Okay.
All right. So, with that in mind, I do need to still apply this sound to the game.
It's a trap. It's a trap.
Oh, wow. Really?
And here's why. Because lost in the great shuffle of Indiana losing by 21 a week ago to Ohio State, lost in that shuffle is, statistically speaking, they played pretty good defense. Our friend Bill Connolly, who scores these types of things, he gave them an 87% in terms of defensive efficiency. Not a shutdown defense, but across the full scope of the season so far, they have been solidly above average against both the run and the pass.
Mm-hmm.
And they're playing at home. They're playing against a Nebraska team that has had luck on their side this year, as opposed to a year ago with weird turnovers and losses and the whole 9 yards. I am a little concerned here that this is a bad spot for Nebraska going on the road against a team that is, I think, securely on our secretly decent list.
Yeah, I'm going Hoosiers, Ty.
Yeah?
I believe in the Tom Allen defense, and it doesn't exactly fit my strategy for picking games as it relates to home dogs in a tough place with a good defense. Indiana does legitimately, depending on how much you buy into the efficiency metrics, they have a top 40, top 45 defense, somewhere in that range, all things considered, from where they were last year and the year before. Incredibly impressive job done by Tom Allen, the defensive coordinator they brought in from USF. Surprisingly enough for Indiana, with how they were recently on the ground with Tevin Coleman and Jordan Howard, they're not moving the ball all that efficiently on the ground, which gives me a little bit of pause. I'd like them a little bit more, because if you were to couple an Indiana team that ran the ball like they have these past couple years with what Nebraska may not do all that well, which is stop the run, give up big plays on the ground, as they've done a couple of times this year against a couple of schools that perhaps they should have been able to control a little easier. I'd like Indiana more. But because I do believe in that defense, because I would hope that coming off of an Ohio State game in which there are a number of positives to take from their performance, I don't think it's a letdown spot. I don't think it's a body blow theory game. I really do believe in Indiana here. Even with Nebraska coming off a bye week, I am going with the Hoosiers. I'm going with Hoosiers.
Outright?
Kevin Wilson.
You going outright?
I'm going outright, Ty, because I am saucy. 27-21 Hoosiers.
Damn, girl. Okay.
Come on, Ty.
I
don't believe in Nebraska.
Really?
Yeah, okay, listen.
Nebraska's gotten better, too.
Nebraska has 100%
They've gotten better
too.
on both sides of the ball, really.
On both sides of the ball, Tommy Armstrong has looked improved at spots, even getting beat up a little bit. The running back depth they've built has been impressive, and they're just solid everywhere. And they're not losing the dumb games that they did last year. I like Nebraska. I like Nebraska a good amount.
Country strong, Dan.
Hey, listen, from your mouth to God's ears.
That's right.
I still think they're an 8-4, 9-3 team in a very positive way. I just think right now at Indiana, it's a particularly trappy, tough spot. I'm going with the Hoosiers.
I am going with Nebraska.
What score?
I think it's a close game. I am going to take Nebraska on the road to cover this point spread. I'm going to say it's about 34-30. It's going to be right on that number.
Okay.
It's going to be close. If you were lucky enough, if you're into such things as gambling, and you got Indiana at like 6, I would be jumping up and clicking my heels because that's a great number for you, Indiana at home here. But I think I am a Nebraska believer. They've improved, like I said, on both sides of the football. The luck has shifted. Remember how snake-bitten they were a year ago?
Of course.
We were talking about it every week with turnovers and the losses, and it just seems like things have now shifted 180 in their favor, and far be it from me to bet against that luck. So give me Nebraska. Again, I'm going to say 34-30. They go on the road, get a secretly decent win here.
The thing that gives me pause is Nebraska, and for that matter, Indiana. They're two of the least disruptive teams. You like your havoc rate. They don't end up in backfields enough for me to believe that this game tips dramatically in one direction. So that's why I'm just going to lean home team here, even though Indiana doesn't do it all that much either. I would have liked to seen, and listen, Ross Zuris has done a really, is that how you pronounce it, Ty? Zuris? It's
sure.
DZ to start the word. So
Zuris.
It's very difficult when I watch so many screens at once. He's been very good this year, but as a whole, Nebraska's defense has not been particularly disruptive. So I don't believe in them as much on the road.
All right, we got to pay the bills here. So let's get a message from our good friends over at Harry's. I shaved today with Harry's.
Okay.
So I am a proud Harry's razor owner. I've said this time and time again. I used to use some of the competition's blades, and then I had a chance to try out what Harry's brings to market. And it's a sleeker, easier to control, lighter razor that I just enjoy using a lot more. The other ones are like shaving with a 747.
Shaving with a 747.
Yeah, it's too unwieldy.
What are Kate's thoughts when she sees you freshly shaven with Harry's?
Well, see, I not only have the Harry's razor, but I also have some of the balm that you can get.
Mm-hmm.
So when I put that on, my face shines. I have a shimmer to me that she says I have a backlighting, like I'm flying directly down from heaven.
No,
that might be a little bit extreme, but my face is exceedingly smooth after Harry's, and it doesn't take any nicks out of my youthful looking face, which I appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
So I would encourage
attention to detail, sideburns, and everything like that. Very comfortable.
Yeah,
Swift.
they've got a trimmer blade on there for the harder to reach places.
Ooh.
And a textured handle, because most of the time when you're shaving, your hands are wet.
Oh.
So it's a significant savings over any of the other blades that you can get out there. $2 a blade compared to like $4 or whatever you pay at the drugstore for some of the name brands. So this is a good product. I'm not only endorsing it, I also use it. Harry's, for their part, is so confident in the quality of their blades that they're going to send you their popular free trial set, which comes with a razor, a 5-blade cartridge, and the shaving gel for free when you sign up for a shave plan. All you got to do is pay $3 for shipping. Plus, there is a special offer now for Verballers. Enter the code SOLID, S-O-L-I-D, at checkout, and you'll get that post-shave balm, the stuff that gave me the backlighting and made my wife all excited. They will add that to your order for free. If you are interested, you go to harrys.com, HARRYS.com right now. Enter the code SOLID at checkout and claim your free trial set, claim your post-shave balm. You can do it right now at harrys.com. The offer code is SOLID, Dan. S-O-L-I-D.
Ty tested, Ty approved.
That's right. Okay. We must move quickly. We've got more games to discuss here. Let's stick at 3:30. Let's go over to our good friends over at CBS, and let's talk a little bit about Alabama on the road at Tennessee. This is a rivalry game here.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee's a 13-point favorite. I got to ask the question here, Dan. Being so, it's not only kind of a rivalry, but also the first top 10 matchup in Neyland Stadium since 2005. So you know the Vol Navy's going to be out.
It's been a minute.
Is this a throw the records out kind of game?
No.
Okay, that's probably
I don't believe so.
That's probably the right answer.
If Tennessee weren't leading the nation in lost turnovers against Power 5 teams, I'd be more inclined. And listen, Neyland's a very difficult place to play. They're going to pack the place. It's going to be very exciting.
I have two questions for you.
Okay, let's answer some questions. Let's try to. Anyway.
I want you to enlighten me, okay?
Okay.
I guess this would be B. My first one was whether or not we throw the records out. So this would be question B. Does Tennessee have the talent to beat Alabama?
When healthy, yes. And I don't have to think about that. Yes, they do have the talent. They have depth at a number of positions, and they have stars at a number of key positions, or star quality players. Right now, they're down 5 or 6 dudes on both sides of the ball, key starters. And listen, there is a formula, in as much as there can be a formula for beating Alabama or doing things to not screw up an opportunity to put yourself in a position to possibly beat Alabama. What you can't do is turn the ball over a lot as a thin team that falls behind regularly.
All right.
Alabama's
I got more
very
questions.
Good at playing.
There's a 500 character limit on these answers, Dan.
I adhere to no limits.
Question C.
Me and Master P, no limit.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Nice reference. Question C. If Tennessee wins, how do they win?
If Tennessee wins, Josh Dobbs starts playing well immediately. And Tennessee does a great job as a dual threat offense because Josh Dobbs, when he gets going, he's a very good quarterback. He needs to be able to run the ball, throw the ball, get another great all-purpose game out of Alvin Kamara, as we saw what he did against Texas A&M. And under the word turnovers, there has to be a goose egg. There has to be a 0, because to beat Alabama, even with a true freshman quarterback on the road in a difficult place, you have to approach not perfection, but your own ceiling and your own ideal of perfection. And Tennessee just hasn't been able to do it in first halves. And if they don't fall behind, if they're able to find spots, if they're able to place players in open parts of the field, Tennessee's in a good place. The history of this year, so these past few games, tells us that Tennessee's a little bit too beat up and a little bit too sloppy and a little bit slow. What do you do as a driver in the East Coast? You got to sort of warm up your engine. You got to have an engine that just is ready to go.
Tennessee needs the engine that you can start from your bedroom.
Right.
And then by the time you drive it, 15 minutes later.
So from the locker room,
you know, the car is warm, it's ready to go. You can hit the accelerator. You don't got to worry about blowing anything up. I would also add that if they're going to win, they got to force Jalen Hurts to be a freshman on the road. They got to force him to make mistakes to get...
Which isn't crazy.
Yeah, they got to... It's not out of the question. They need to force him to make some mistakes. They need to get field position, and they got to score some points of their own. I can't get the thought out of my head that if and when this team plays a full 4 quarters, they can play with just about anybody. To your point, there is literally no empirical evidence to suggest that Tennessee will do this.
Right.
Because it's week 7. We haven't seen it yet. But now that Tennessee has finally got a taste of its own blood, could we maybe be dealing with a zombie Vols situation like we did zombie Bama a year ago?
Ooh, interesting. I think you hit on something important in the forcing Jalen Hurts to play like a freshman, and he most certainly did not look like one against Arkansas on the road. He has not been wonderful under pressure. I'm looking at our friends at Pro Football Focus and their adjusted completion percentage, especially deep, and the numbers under pressure. And Hurts has been particularly average under pressure. So if Bob Shoop and that Tennessee defense can mix up and confuse him up front and force passing downs, I would say. So Tennessee has to stay ahead of schedule and keep Alabama behind schedule. But I think you're right.
If I get to make that zombie Vols sound, I'll be very excited because I'm thinking the computer voice dubbed over top of a super slowed down version of Rocky Top.
Oh, I was going to say like a weird, haunting, smoky howl.
Maybe we could do both.
Oh.
We could add that howl.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So here's where I'm going with this, Dan.
Please.
I really want to make the zombie Vols sound.
So in the interest of that.
I don't think Tennessee wins the game outright because that would be nuts. Mm-hmm. But I would not be surprised if it happens. If, in fact, Tennessee decides to come out afterburners on, hot out of the gate, Josh Dobbs plays a great game. I think, regardless, I'm going Tennessee home dog of the week.
Wow.
The Yakos home dog of the week.
I think this is a close game, and I'm all over the points. Alabama's going to win. They're the better team.
Mm-hmm.
But it is, and this pick, I'll say, is totally contingent on Tennessee playing inspired for 4 quarters and forcing some mistakes and Josh Dobbs not making mistakes. And that's a lot to ask. A lot of qualifiers there. But I'm going to say Alabama wins on the road. Great win for them. 38-35 Tennessee covers.
Wow. I have it 34-24. I'm going to take Tennessee as well to cover. I just think coming off of a tough game on the road, playing a second game on the road within the SEC against a definitely good Tennessee team, a Tennessee team that is pretty clearly, hopefully they'd be healthier, but better than where they were a year ago when they played Alabama tough. I think Tennessee covers here at home, a good team. I just don't think there is going to be enough for 4 quarters to beat the Tide. So we agree.
We agree. All right, moving on. 3:30 ABC. Miami at home again. 8.5 points, the favorite over North Carolina. So look, if we want to save ourselves some time, we could subscribe to the transitive property because North Carolina beat Florida State by 2. Florida State beat Miami by 1. Mm-hmm. Therefore, North Carolina's a field goal better than Miami, done and done. Do we really even need to preview this game?
Irrefutable. Let's go to the Pat League.
Let me ask you this. Given the elements we saw last week with the Hurricane and UNC, Virginia Tech, and game kind of got out of hand, was that a proper barometer at all for North Carolina?
No, not fully, because in a monsoon tie.
In a monsoon?
It's raining sideways!
There are a limited number of things to take away. But the fact that Virginia Tech was well coached and was able to find enough in terms of finding ways to win, and North Carolina looks so lost so much of the time on offense. The good news for North Carolina this week is Elijah Hood appears like he's going to be playing.
By the way, did we mention that last week?
I don't know if we did.
I feel
that's a huge deal.
I feel like I read it and I wrote it down and I forgot to mention it on the show, but that was one of the reasons why I picked Virginia Tech outright here. It just hurts so much for North Carolina not to have him. He's a game time decision this week.
I think he's going to. I think he's going to be there.
If he's there, if he plays, that's a huge get for North Carolina. It gives them another dimension on offense that they didn't have a week ago.
So right now, North Carolina's defense, which looked to be, well, it was a struggle bus last year. It looks bad early on in the season, but has gotten to the point of somewhat respectable at times. We just don't know what we're going to see from Mitch Trubisky. A couple weeks ago, we see great, efficient, powerful, comfortable, poised Mitch Trubisky, General Mitch Trubisky. Last week, we saw private Mitch Trubisky, just unable to adjust to the conditions. And granted, it's very difficult to do so, but I didn't like what I saw. This game is at Miami. They have a pretty good offense led by, I think Brad Kai is probable in this spot. Miami's defense is really, really good. Again, if you subscribe to the efficiency metrics, they look to be a top 15 defense at the moment. It's schedule and opponent adjusted. And they are particularly impressive against the pass. So they measure up pretty well against North Carolina, but the addition of Elijah Hood to the Tar Heels, I think, does make a difference. North Carolina covers, Miami wins outright 31-27.
Miami was good enough to beat Florida State last week.
Yes.
And I don't want to lose sight of that. This is a really well-balanced team. And as you mentioned, the big jump has been on defense. They've been great against the pass, But talk about improvements. How about the defensive line? They got pushed around last year.
Mm-hmm.
And not just last year. They were getting pushed around the last couple years. This year, they're just out there making plays. Last year, defensive line havoc rate, 68th nationally. So far this year, number one. Number one. That's a pretty big jump. Yeah. That's a resume builder for Manny Diaz.
Yes.
All right. So, North Carolina, on the other hand, how about their line defensively? They're getting pushed around.
They are.
They are getting pushed around. So I think Miami can and should run on North Carolina here. I like Miami to win at home by about 10. I'm going to say something in the vicinity of 35-24. Canes win and cover this one.
Wow. Okay. You're suddenly getting high on Miami.
I get a little too high on them.
I like it.
A little too high on that Canes.
I'm with it, Ty.
Okay. Moving on, 7 p.m.
Next.
7 p.m. ESPN game. We've got Ole Miss on the road, 7.5 points. They are a favorite coming into Fayetteville, Arkansas, Dan. Arkansas's new slogan is catch the downward spiral.
Oh, Ty.
You looked at that schedule?
It's rough. No, it's not great.
I mean, it's probably not fair to say. It's still a good team. It's a very good team. But
Arkansas?
Schedule is just brutal.
Very good team?
They're a good team. Very good might be a little too generous. They're a good team.
All right.
I think they're a good team.
Okay.
They got to play better along the lines.
What makes you think they're good beyond Austin Allen at this point?
Beyond Austin Allen?
And the passing game in general.
Beyond Austin Allen, I'd say probably Austin Allen, and Austin Allen.
Okay.
And Austin Allen.
Yeah.
They need to play better along the lines. If they don't play better along both lines, this one's going to be a bloodbath. Statistically speaking, all they do well is pass the football. And in a game like this where you're going against Ole Miss, I would describe Ole Miss this year as a legit number 8 team in the country. And I know they're not ranked there currently, but that's just how I feel about them. Like, they're really good, and they're a top 10 caliber team. And if you told me at any point from now until the end of the season that Ole Miss is ranked 8th, I would say, that feels about right to me. That feels about right. So this is a good team, top to bottom, and Arkansas is just too one-dimensional. They offer too little resistance on defense. Ole Miss's defense is too good. Their offense is too potent. Not a good situation for Arkansas. If the only two things that you like about the Hogs here is that you've got a really good quarterback in Austin Allen and the game's at home, that is not enough for me to feel confident in taking them to cover a 7.5 spread. So I'm going to go Ole Miss on the road. I like them scoring a lot of points. Let's say 41 to 21.
Ole Miss is so damn efficient on offense. And I say that in both describing what they're able to do on the field and what Chad Kelly's able to do at high school football game fights. Just gets right into it.
We didn't talk about that, did we?
No, we didn't. Just gets right into it. Well, here's the great thing about Ole Miss. Chad Kelly, Buffalo high school fights aside. The running game's improving with Akeem Judd and Eugene Brasley. Like, legitimately, they are a threat on the ground in ways that they haven't been in years past. Ole Miss against the run hasn't been great. I don't think Arkansas is good enough to take advantage right now. But really nice aggression getting to quarterbacks, and you love your land sharks, and they've shown up a good amount this year, even in those tough losses to Florida State and Alabama. Arkansas, to me, feels like a team that applied for a job as a good SEC team and lied on their resume about their knowledge of offensive line protection and run blocking and pass rushing and stopping anything on the ground. And then the first day that they show up, the boss is like, all right, we're going to need you to protect a quarterback and I guess get after a quarterback if that's cool. I mean, you said you had some proficiency in a couple of those things.
Like they put it on their resume because they took the course on lynda.com.
Yeah, they got the certification.
They know, right. They printed it out on their home printer. And so it doesn't look very official, but they've got it in a frame and it's on the wall above the desktop computer.
Right.
And so there's a little bit of proficiency there, but yeah.
So yeah, they've shown up, are asked to work on a project, and it's like real quick, they're just Googling the hell out of pass protection.
Oh, you use that term here. At my old job, we didn't. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We use Avid. Yeah. I see. Okay. And you guys are using Premier. Sure. Okay. That's where I'm at with Arkansas right now. I have 38-20 Ole Miss.
Okay. Fair enough. So we agree. Line feels kind of low, if I'm being honest here. 7.5?
It's at Arkansas. It feels right.
But okay.
Body blow theory in effect with Arkansas's game against Alabama, I think.
All right. 8 p.m. on ABC, Ohio State. The Baby Buckeyes. They are a 10.5-point favorite on the road in Camp Randall against Wisconsin. Dan, I am undeniably most confident in Ohio State's defense in this game, going up against a Wisconsin offense that I wasn't totally sold on a couple weeks ago, and then they kind of talked me into a corner. Then there was that Michigan game, and I'm still not sold on them right now, especially in a game against a team like Ohio State. The question, though, is this. Wisconsin absolutely still has a good defense. How confident are you in the Ohio State offense going up on the road? They're still pretty young against this Wisconsin front.
Wisconsin was off last week, were they not?
They were, yeah.
Okay, so that's at least nice. If you're going to play against what looks to be a great team in Ohio State, have a week to regroup after kind of an ugly offensive performance against Michigan and figure something out. You have Ohio State. You have them at home. Ohio State coming off of a not particularly pretty performance against Indiana, but a win, doing a lot of really nice things on defense, particularly with your boy
serviceable, I'd say. Serviceable.
I think the defense is looking stronger at this point than the offense.
Definitely.
I'm going to take the points here. I think it's sort of an ugly game. Yeah, I'm going to take the points. I still think Wisconsin just doesn't have enough to do much, but it feels to me like, remember for a couple years, Penn State weirdly hung with Ohio State. They needed overtime in JT Barrett's first season. Ohio State has those games. On the road, at Camp Randall, at night, against a good defense as double-digit favorites. I believe in Ohio State, but I don't believe in them separating themselves on the road in a tough place to play against a good defense. That's just my rule. I'm going 21-13 or 21-13 Ohio State.
Wow.
Wisconsin covers. Yeah. I got to go with my code.
Fair enough. I just keep coming back to that Michigan game. 14-7, Wisconsin lost. They looked anemic on offense.
They lost by 7, though, Ty.
I know, but they only scored 7.
That's pretty good.
Two ways to look at it.
Well, Michigan dropped 78 after dropping 14.
I just feel like this is the same kind of game, except that Ohio State, I think, has a better offense. So I am going to say 35-14, a pseudo crock-potting in favor of Ohio State. They win on the road. Tough place to play at night. They're going to be jumping around like mad up there, but give me Ohio State. I'm going to lay the points. I'm going to say they win this one by 21, 35-14.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, I love disagreeing here. I love that.
Shall we pay the bills once more?
Let's pay them. Delicious, delicious bills.
Have you tried Blue Apron?
I have. I've been not only have I tried it here, I've tried it at other people's apartments.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you take it with you or did they already have it?
No, they had already had it.
So as you know, fresh, high-quality ingredients, they taste better. Not only that, but they're better for you. And because of that, it's important to know where your food is coming from. We've both experienced Blue Apron already. It's pretty neat. All this stuff is just shipped to you. It's already portioned out. The packaging is impressive. They tell you everything you need to know, down to the second, down to the minute, how to prepare the food. And at the end of what feels like a sliver in time, you end up with a really awesome meal. So I've already recommended it to friends and family. They're jumping in on this. Blue Apron's been around for a while. They've established partnerships with over 150 local farms, fisheries, and ranchers across the United States. As a result, you've got seafood that is sourced sustainably under Standards developed in partnership with the Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch, which I know you're familiar with, Dan.
I've been, yeah.
The beef is raised humanely, chickens are free range, pork is raised naturally, regenerative farm practices are used for produce, and it can be delivered to 99% of the continental United States.
Hell of a deal. There's nothing like a home-cooked meal, Ty. You know this. This show is fueled by home-cooked meals.
Those who spend a lot eating out or at high-end grocery chains, you can now get the same high-end food for under $10 a person. Delicious meal. So again, less than $10 a meal, Blue Apron. They're going to deliver seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. Some of the meals available in October, you've got crispy chicken Milanese.
Milanese.
Yeah, with warm Brussels sprouts, celery, and potato salad. Thai green curry chicken. You got roasted pork, steamed buns, all sorts of great stuff. Check it all out right now and get your first 3 meals for free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/solid. You're going to love how good it feels, how good it tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron. So please, Verballers, do not wait. One more time, blueapron.com, BLUEAPRON.com/solid. 3 meals for free with free shipping. Blue Apron, it is a better way to cook.
Done.
All right. We've got a bunch of other games here. Let's go rapid fire.
Let's do it.
7:30 on NBC. Oh, God. Did you put this on the list or did I do it in a
this
trance?
is all you. I've got a good nugget, though.
Oh, good. Stanford on the road at Notre Dame. Notre Dame, a 3-point favorite. What's your nugget?
Notre Dame and Stanford, inarguably disappointing seasons, to say the very least. They have combined to give up more turnovers. That would be 19 versus Power 5 schools than Utah, Washington, Wazoo, Illinois, Baylor, Florida State, Michigan, and Ohio State combined.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
I got that. Yep. 2 teams led by preseason Heisman conversation type players.
I have 0 sense for what Notre Dame team's going to show up from week to week. I can understand the woes on defense because they really, truly lost a lot to graduation and the draft. And, hey, you got a guy like a Jalen Smith. He can cover up a lot of flaws. It's not a total shock to me that the defense would be struggling or just plain bad. But what I don't get, and what someone has yet to fully explain to me, is why this team is playing with a total lack of intensity. Notre Dame has been first half Tennessee for 2.5 quarters against Texas.
That's
for
so
1
mean.
quarter against Nevada. 3.5 quarters against Michigan State. 4 quarters against Duke. And against NC State in the monsoon game. Even 1 quarter against Syracuse. I don't get it. I don't get it.
You have a lot of difficulty making peace with an average team.
I know I do. And look,
or a bad team, excuse me. It could be a bad team.
There are a lot of Notre Dame people that I know listen to this show, and they might even care what I think about this game. I have no idea what to think about this game. Stanford is pedestrian on offense outside Christian McCaffrey, and Notre Dame is undeniably terrible on defense, but I think they have the better offense. But that doesn't matter. All that stuff goes out the window. I will pick Notre Dame minus the 3 because I just want to root for them at this point. But I'm not locking it up. I'm not getting crazy. I don't care. I'm so numb at this point.
Yeah, I'm just sort of going with the home team. Everybody sort of looks at this as even, or the Vegas people look at it as even, as Notre Dame 3-point favorites. At home, Stanford doesn't have the offense to take advantage all that often of Notre Dame's defensive struggles, and Notre Dame doesn't necessarily have the potent offense to take advantage of Stanford and being beat up on defense, though. So I'm going to go with Notre Dame at home. I think Deshaun Kaiser has a nice game behind a still good offensive line in terms of protecting him. They've been okay doing that in the little I've seen Notre Dame play interesting games this year. So I'm going to go with Kaiser. He has not been as accurate this year. I think last year he was completing about 61% of his passes. This year he's taken a step down to about 54%. But I think he's going to be okay against this Stanford defense, who have struggled to stop anything as well consistently. So I'm going with the home team. I'm going Deshaun Kaiser and Notre Dame at home. Don't feel great, but it's sort of by default.
I'll say this for Notre Dame. They've won the press conferences this year. They said all the right things in the press conference.
Yeah.
DeShone Kizer this week. We should be scoring. We've got the talent to score 70 a game.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, DeShone.
Yeah, he said he was very glad to be back in South Bend.
Yeah.
From Raleigh. So there's that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Next game.
Before I stir up any more trouble, 7 p.m. Iowa State. The Cyclones going south, going to Austin. Yep. They are a 13.5-point dog on the road. What does our day counter look like? How long has it been since Texas last scored on Iowa State?
Last I checked was 7:21 on Sunday, so I believe it's 7:24. We're recording this on a Wednesday. 724 days since Iowa State has allowed a single point to be scored on themselves by the Texas Longhorns.
So look, 13.5 feels like a lot to me because Texas has a bad defense, and Iowa State's being competitive. So I'm gonna take the points here. Give me 13.5. Yeah, I'm taking the points. Okay. Give me the Cyclones. They're competitive.
They're competitive. They have been able to throw on people, on quality opponents, which is, especially in the first year of a new offense, new coach, it hasn't been pretty all the time, but they've moved the ball. They look like, and the efficiency metrics have them as a top 50 or 60 offense, which all things considered, they are moving in the right direction. The trajectory is good offensively. The problem for them is defensively. Texas should be able to move the ball on the ground. I think they moved over. By the way, did you see the name of the receiver? I think he's a freshman receiver that they moved to running back. He was a high school running back. They played him at receiver during the first half of his freshman campaign, and he's moving back to running back because of injuries for Texas. Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Yes.
First name is Lil Jordan.
Nice.
And I love that. So that's a little nugget that I enjoy about Texas. I think Texas wins this game by a touchdown, but I think Iowa State covers. I think Iowa State is still in the right place of mind to keep things scrappy against a Texas team that it's not in free fall. They competed last week. They looked ugly at times. And this does have potential to be a get it together game for Texas.
Big time.
But I still think things are in such disarray for Texas, and they still have a true freshman quarterback, and they really haven't given him the opportunity to throw the ball all over the field. Did you see the chart that Pro Football Focus put out?
I did, yeah. That was cool.
That all of his throws were along the sidelines, either shorter hitch routes or sort of pump and go 9-route type things.
It was good to get that kind of visual confirmation because in watching Texas, not just in the Notre Dame game, but in pretty much all the games, it feels like that's where all the throws are going.
Yeah, not that Joel Lanning is necessarily lighting everybody up, but he's making throws. Yeah. And I think they're going to travel well enough. I think Matt Campbell has them in the right headspace. So I'm going to say, let's call it 34-27 Texas.
Yeah, I think Texas wins, but Iowa State covers. Okay.
Yeah.
Staying in the Big 12, this one's at high noon. K-State on the road at Oklahoma. The Sooners are a 10.5-point favorite. Dan, I'll be honest, the line feels low. Took Oklahoma, a while to get going, but finally feels like the offense is finding its way. They're back to some extent, and I just don't see K-State keeping up. So I like Oklahoma to win and cover.
Yeah, I like Oklahoma to win and cover unless you look at it as a letdown spot. And I think it's going to be a big Baker Mayfield game, as Kansas State has been very good against teams on the ground defensively, which shouldn't be a surprise. That's sort of a calling card thing for Kansas State. But yeah, Elijah Lee has been very good for the Wildcats. Little Apple, if it were in Manhattan, I think I'd feel a little bit differently about this game. But it's in Norman. I'm not crazy about Jesse Ertz and the Kansas State offense in terms of their ability to keep up now that Dede Westbrook is healthy. So, man, I do like this Kansas State defense. You mentioned Elijah Lee. I like Jordan Willis, but I'm going to Oklahoma here. I think they find enough success over the top to win this game by a couple touchdowns.
12 p.m., Illinois at Rutgers. I don't know why I put this on the list, but...
You did me a favor by putting this on the list.
Just for the hell of it. Illinois, a 6-point road favorite. I thought I saw that you can actually buy tickets to this game for $8.97.
Great deal.
On ticket retailer StubHub, which means, if you're interested, it's probably less on SeatGeek, one of our proud sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
This feels like the kind of game that ends up being crazy and weirdly fun and going to overtime with like a 34-31 kind of score.
I'm surprised Illinois at Rutgers didn't sponsor this episode. For under $10 a week, you can get, actually for under $10 this week. Look, both of these teams are overall leaning garbage. Rutgers obviously is, but Illinois has been feisty at times. Here's what's to like about this game, and this is very specific. Illinois, very secretly, because why would you be watching Illinois unless you're an Illinois fan this year, has a pair of defensive ends who are of like high NFL quality. Illinois just randomly has these guys. I don't know what it is. It just seems year in and year out, whether it was Jonathan Brown or Corey Legit. This year it's Carroll Phillips and DeJuan Smoot. These are dominant defensive ends at Illinois, just randomly. And I love it. I love that, there have been these Illinois coaches who have been very good at scouting defensive players across the country, but for that reason and that reason only, I'm riding with the Illini to win this game by 10 points. They sort of cause enough havoc to pull away from Rutgers.
All right, I'm gonna go. Yeah, let's go Illinois. I'll go Illinois.
Cool, we agree.
3:30. CBS Sports Network. Interesting
Row that
game.
boat, Ty. Row that boat.
Western Michigan in the top 25. And undefeated. They are a 10.5-point road favorite against Akron. So look, PJ Fleck got him rowing the boat all in one direction. This is a pretty good team. Zach Terrell, their quarterback, has 15 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's got a rapport with Corey Davis, who I know we've discussed here on the program. He's got 8 touchdowns. He's averaging 16.4 per catch. And that presents an obvious problem, I think, for Akron, because Akron has just about the worst pass defense in America right now. Yeah. So give me Western Michigan. I will lay whatever here, Western Michigan minus whatever, over to the Zips.
Now, Ty, you are implying that you can just waltz into Summerfield at InfoCision Stadium. You are implying such a thing that I am not comfortable with, but I think you're right. Western Michigan actually has a really, really impressive superlative attached to their season thus far. The Broncos are the only team in America that has not lost a single turnover this year.
Yeah, that's right.
That's coaching. That's discipline. That's focus. And we are not the furthest from talking about the Broncos, from talking about Western Michigan as a potential New Year's Day bowl team, which is incredible from where they were. I think PJ Fleck took over a 1-11 team. Does that sound right? Somewhere in that vicinity.
Yeah.
What the hell? Such a great job he's done there. So hopefully they keep it up. I think double-digit favorites at Akron. Akron is not great, but there's some talent there for the Zips. But yeah, I'm going Western Michigan as well by a couple touchdowns.
3:30, Wake at Florida State. Florida State's a 3-touchdown favorite, 21 points. Secretly decent Wake here on the road, Dan. Against a Florida State team the week after an emotional Miami victory.
Yep.
I don't feel this is a true sandwich spot for Florida State. I saw a few sites referencing the fact that Florida State has Clemson on deck, which is true, but they've got a bye week in between. So it's not a true letdown look-ahead spot, but is there any trap potential here?
No. I would love there to be. I would imagine Wake Forest would need to have a better offense than the current one that they have, which has not been all that good. To keep up with Florida State, you need to score what? 31 points if you don't have an excellent defense that Miami is capable of playing at times to sort of be competitive with Florida State, especially as they improve, and Wake just does not have the horses. So I think Florida State wins this game. I don't know if they cover, but I'm going to give them the slight edge to cover. I say 37. 42-14. They do cover.
So you're going to besmirch the name of the Demon Deacons here. Demon Deacons team that went on the road to Bloomington and knocked off the Hoosiers.
True. I love the Hoosiers, but no, I don't believe this week. Not on the road.
All right. Well, suit yourself. I'm going to say Florida State passes all over the living daylights of Wake. I don't think Wake has anyone that can cover Florida State's receivers. Wake's been a good story at 5-1. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for the Clawfence. I hope they make a bowl game. But I think Florida State runs it up. I think they win 45-17.
By the way,
Deacons.
While we're in the ACC, do you know who is the second? I mean, obviously Louisville has the best offense in the conference. Who is the second best rushing offense in the ACC? And this is somewhat quiet because they've played close games and the defense has been so bad. Your Pittsburgh Panthers.
Yeah.
Their offense has been better than Florida State's, North Carolina's, and Miami's, with big-ish name offensive players on each of those teams. And they are running the ball better than every ACC team other than Louisville. That's incredible.
We got 3 more games here very quickly. Got to move.
Yes.
4 p.m. on SEC Network. Missouri at Florida. The Gators, a 13.5-point home favorite. As you know, they had the unplanned bye week after the LSU cancellation / postponement a week ago due to Hurricane Matthew. Luke Del Rio is back at quarterback this week. It is a bad Florida run game against a bad Missouri run defense.
Yep.
So I'm curious to see if anything breaks on that front one way or the other. I don't know, and this is just me. I don't know if I've ever accurately predicted a Florida Gators game. Okay. At least not in the last 3 years. So my gut instinct is to say Florida wins and covers here. But I have zero confidence in what's going to happen here. I just don't know.
Yeah, I think Missouri is going to need some time under Barry Odom. Showing up in spots, letting things go in spots, got completely dominated by LSU. I think Florida's going to use a similar blueprint. Luke Del Rio looks like he's back. So I think they're able to stretch the field enough against a Missouri defense that has been absent part of the time this year. So I think Florida covers in this game. I think they win this game 31-17, and it's just a bear cover.
A bear cover. Okay.
A bear cover, yeah.
10-15. Mississippi State and their odd run of non-conference road games continues. On the road at BYU, they are a 7-point dog. This is a weird game.
Yes, it is.
A weird line. I like BYU to win and cover here. I am all in on BYU moving forward.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think BYU covers in this game. I don't think Mississippi State is all that good. And to get blown out like they were last week and then to go on the road at altitude to Provo, the weirdness does not play to their favor. I'm going with the Cougs.
And then finally, the best for last. We've got UCLA on the road at Washington State. Washington State, at time of recording, is a 4.5-point favorite, Dan. And I'm going to say this once. This feels like a really low line for no apparent reason. And maybe Vegas knows something that I don't. But until I discover what that is, lock up the Cougars.
Lock of the week.
This one seems too obvious to me. I like how they're playing on defense. Luke Falk obviously has them moving on offense. The Stanford win a week ago was damn impressive. And what the heck? Going back home, let's keep the ball rolling here over UCLA. Josh Rosen, I believe, questionable in this game.
I don't think he's going to play.
I mean, that would definitely have a profound impact. It would probably move the line more in favor of Washington State. So get in while the getting's good.
I hate doing this, Ty. Double up that lock for me.
Lock of the week.
Going Wazoo as well.
Yeah, and I think even if Josh Rosen were healthy and playing, that Wazoo is just so much better in every phase. At this point, UCLA against the pass has been very good, which is certainly how you would like to match up against the Cougars. But Washington State is running it better than they ever have. Their defense has been more complete than I think it has been in recent years, at least against lower competition like Stanford and Oregon, which, yes, is very strange to say out loud, Ty. It is very strange to say, but even with potential letdown after a Stanford win, which is a very new thing for Wazoo. Not having Josh Rosen, I think, nullifies things.
All right. Double lock here to end things on week 7.
There's some other games, Ty. That's all you have.
That's all I have. No.
USC, Arizona.
Okay.
I mean, generally is more interesting than it appears to be. I think Arizona is going to start a freshman, Khalil Tate, who has the potential, but still seems pretty green. And USC, if you look at their stats in October, their defense has been a top 30 defense, which, Ty, they lost 52-6 the first week.
Yep.
That's a thing. USC's defense has improved a lot, and Sam Darnold, if he's not fumbling the ball, could be a top 25-30 quarterback in the country. Like, I think he is moving in the direction of looking like this year's Deshaun Kaiser. Like, doesn't start the season out, but adds a dimension perhaps that we didn't expect to see from the offense. So I like USC a lot on the road. It's an afternoon game, so it's not a weird Pac-12 after dark situation. I like USC by a couple touchdowns here. I think they're favored by 8. I think they comfortably win this game. Elsewhere in the Pac-12, Arizona State, Colorado. Arizona State looks to be starting a young quarterback, I believe. Again, I'm not sure what the status is of their offense, but I think Colorado wins this game comfortably. Arizona State might be secretly a very bad 5-1, which you don't hear a lot.
No.
And I think Colorado takes another step forward because they've been surprisingly complete.
I hope so.
It'd be so fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And no disrespect to Arizona State. I love Arizona State, but
yeah,
just this year, it's a bit of an uphill battle.
I think they're going to take some abuse through the air. Northwestern, Michigan State, Ty. Weird game because Northwestern has gotten better over the course of this season. Yeah, they've gotten
better, and Michigan State still has that Notre Dame stench on them.
Yeah. Okay. I'm picking against the stench. I think Northwestern wins this game. I think Michigan State is secretly a below-average team. Right. I am disrespecting. I'm openly disrespecting.
I'll go with that, too.
Ty, if you were to line up these two teams and say, raise your hand if you've won a Big Ten game, only one of these teams has the ability to raise their hands.
Take one step forward, yeah.
I wouldn't completely ignore Virginia Tech, Syracuse, Carrier Dome. Listen, Syracuse 2-4 hasn't won an ACC game. It's still a weird place to me, and it's an offense that I think can still go off. So I'm not fully ignoring that game. Elsewhere, I'm paying attention to USF just because I root for a team and you root for a team that might be in the market for a coach.
That's
and
right.
Willie Taggart is going to be a name that comes up. So Bob Diaco and Willie Taggart are two names that I think we will continue to hear from. Houston, Tulsa, pure entertainment, ESPN2. I think you see a lot of points. Two big offenses. I would not ignore that game. Temple UCF. I'd ignore that game. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely don't watch that game.
I don't think you should ignore. I don't think you should watch that game. Continue to watch Boise State because they're creeping, Ty. They are creeping. They're 5-0. They are, for a group of 5 team, a brand name. They're just pay attention. They've got a really good quarterback in Brett Rippon. Would not keep your eyes completely averted from the Broncos.
All right.
I think that's everything I got.
That's all I got, yeah.
Quickly, Lafayette is going to get killed by the United States Army. It's not going to be pretty.
Well, do you want to drop the drum and fife?
So with that, oh shoot, yeah, Ty, will you drop?
What is this? Oh my God!
I know. I get on a roll sometimes, Ty, and
good hell.
I think Lafayette being bad this year has really screwed me up. So Ty, do me a favor, drop that squirting.
Oh, come on. Hold on. I'm just going to do it without you now. You screwed up the whole segment.
I had so many gerunds.
The whole show is gone.
Undulating, Ty. I had so many gerunds. Lafayette's going to get murdered by the United States Army.
Yeah, no. Lafayette at Army, 12 o'clock. Lafayette, by the way, I did a little Pat League research, and you screwed up the segment, Dan.
I feel horrible.
Lafayette, they've allowed the most points in the Pat League, and they've scored the second fewest. So, yeah, against Army, I think they're probably going to get murdered.
Wait, are both of my teams extraordinarily bad defensively in their conference? Is that what I'm to understand?
There could be that Dan Rubenstein stench this year.
Oh, God. You are not wrong. Elsewhere in the Pat League, Yale at Fordham, rolling with the Rams and Chase Edmonds.
Yale's S&P Plus profile says that they're a bunch of nerds and that they just like wearing sweaters. Also, they've got the 113th best scoring defense in all of FCS. You combine that, you pair that with the Rams, the one true team of NYC, which has the third best offense in terms of points per game in FCS. So give me Fordham.
Colgate Bucknell. The Nellies against the Gators. Nellies hosting the Gators. I'm going Bucknell. I ride for Bucknell right now. I'm going Bison. Sorry, whatever. What are you going to do?
The Nellies have scored just 99 points this season.
They're due.
That is, thank you. That is the fewest in the Pat League, and at just 19.8 points per game. That's 103rd nationally in all of FCS. So give me Colgate. Give me the Gators on the road here.
Harvard traveling to Holy Cross, and I believe you have something that you would like to request out of this game.
Yeah, it is Gordy Lockbaum bobblehead giveaway day at Holy Cross.
We need a bobble or two bobbles.
Somebody please snag us one of these or several. We will pay for the shipping here.
Yes.
We'll put it in the studio. We'll take pictures of it. We need a Gordy Lockbaum bobblehead from Holy Cross. Harvard's going to win this game.
Are they?
They're going to win this game. I don't know how they respond to traveling an hour west to Fitton Field and into the nether regions of Worcester, Mass.
Yeah.
But they are a favorite. They have to be because they're a top 25 FCS team. I think they win this game comfortably. But on bobblehead day at Fitton Field, I wouldn't rule out an upset victory here for the Crusaders.
Ty, the Engineers of Lehigh are rolling into the Hornets' nest that is multi-sport field forever. May it be multi-sport field at Georgetown. I'm going Engineers here. Lock them up, please.
Lock them up? I'm not going to play the sound.
That's fine, but they're my Pat League lock, and I feel great about it.
I'm going to go Lehigh too, as Joe Moorhead is proving at Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
The Pat League is like the Fertile Crescent for college football offense, and now we've got easygoing Andy Cohen, engineering offense.
Hell yeah, he is.
Getting points by the pallet. Yeah, I'm a little nervous about going to multi-sport field.
Yeah, it's a lot of teams go in confident. A lot of teams leave deflated, Ty. That's just the way of the Pat League. Quickly, though, Ty, I'd like to thank Parker Simmons, Lexi Romine, Leo Modeste, Willie Nelson. I'm assuming it's the Willie Nelson. Brooke Gibson, Nate Cates, Dan Korn with two N's.
Yeah.
Hell of a last name. Devin Moore, Samuel T. Watts, our buddy Travis T. Norman, of course, huge Aggie fan down there in Texas. Brian Hooper, love a good Brian Hooper shout out. And of course, Ty, we ride. We ride. Oh, we ride. With Brandon McKissick.
Mr. McKissick. Yes, we do.
Also, quickly, I have one more thought.
Yes.
And then we're going to get the hell out of here. Jason Ringer, he asked on Twitter, tips on making a quality chili, because Ty, if you look at the calendar in front of you, and I know you have one, it reads mid-October. I don't know when people are going to listen to this. We're entering chili season, Ty, in earnest.
Chili season, yep. We're entering the vaunted chili in-conference season schedule. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Spicy? Tangy? Whatever. Tips on a quality chili. Quickly, I would say look up recipes in which you actually buy chili peppers, and you either have to reconstitute them by soaking them in hot water, or you roast them a little bit. You just, on your stovetop or whatever, you just fire roast a dried pepper or something, break it up and put it in. It adds spice, it adds body. I would also look into recipes. Some recipes will use cocoa powder, and I'm not talking about sweetened chocolate, Ty. I'm just talking about the flavor, the cocoa powder flavor, and it adds a very nice body. Also, coffee grounds, just a little bit, add a very nice body to your chili that I think can step it up a little bit. And I also wouldn't ignore recipes that utilize short rib. A ton of really good
I'm
fat.
partial to turkey chili.
As am I. And I like that. I like a lighter chili, but our pal Ryan Annie makes a very good short rib chili that I think uses a little bit of cocoa powder, and it is dense with flavor.
I love a chili with a good body. Who doesn't?
Yeah, gotta love a good chili body. So that's what I would recommend for your hearty Saturdays.
All right. Wow.
I think we touched a lot of bases, Ty.
A lot of ground here on the solid.
And all I'm taking from it is that Arkansas lied on their resume.
That's right. Very good.
Yeah.
So look, here's the drill, guys, and girls.
Yeah.
Go on out to
women.
The Facebook page at facebook.com/solidverbal. If you like the show, please do rate, review there. If you haven't already, please go on iTunes at itunes.com/solidverbal, rate and review there. iTunes scores you a bunch of different ways. They keep track of how many people click subscribe. The more people that rate and review within a period of time, that helps. So all of that stuff, if you haven't already, subscribe to the show, rate, review the show. That's all you need to do if you want to help us out and help us.
Oh, there is one more thing on iTunes, Ty, that you neglected to tell everybody.
Oh?
That is when you are stopped at a stoplight and a number of people are crossing the street, roll down your window and say, hey, everybody, itunes.com/solidverbal. That is, iTunes really likes that.
Okay. That must be new in the algorithm, yeah.
It's new. It's a new thing. It's very big.
Don't forget, you can call in at 408-VERBAL-1. We'll play your reverbs aloud on our Sunday review show, where we promise to bring the noise and the funk and maybe even a little bit of energy this time around, Dan. What do you say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Erotic, highly charged. Yeah, absolutely.
For that guy over there, my good friend Dan Rubenstein, for myself, Ty Hildebrand, thanks again for listening to the show. Enjoy your week 7. Enjoy your weekend. And until next time, by all means, stay solid.
Peace.